if you can come up with a cookbook recipe, Rhett Shull's 10 steps to YouTube success for all of the musicians right now that are not able to tour, they're trying to get into the YouTube game. And I can certainly see a lot of them are trying, some of them successfully. I think Tom Bukovac is one of those guys that got into it, that, it's super, basic iPhone, but man, he's killing it. But obviously he had a lot of cachet running into that YouTube channel. That I think it certainly helps propel it. But somebody who is, a sideman for somebody, what do you think is the move right now, the pivot to make?
So I've had this conversation with a few friends of mine who are in the exact situation. It's really that you just described. It's really hard because, right now, guys who have made a living touring and traveling and gigging, players that are much better and more accomplished players than I am, and friends of mine, they're not working right now. And so I've had a few of these conversations of like, hey man, I'm thinking about doing this. What does it look like and everything? The first thing to know, YouTube is a terrible thing to get into to make money. In terms of the amount of time it takes on the front end, your time investment versus basically your return on investment in terms of time versus money is so far out of whack that anybody who knows anything about money and business would tell you, do not start a YouTube channel. And I don't say that to discourage people. I say that to just be completely honest. If you're starting from scratch, you are anywhere from 8 to 15 months of solid full-time or almost full-time work on the platform before you start to see any kind of monetary response from it. That's been my experience. That's been the experience of my peers here on YouTube for the most part. You have your exceptions like your Tom Bukovacs and your Rick Beatos and people that just get on the platform and blow up. But those people are very, very few and far between. I mean, Keith from 5 Watt World's a perfect example. I knew Keith when his channel had a couple thousand subscribers, and he had been uploading videos for well over a year before anything took off. And then when it took off, it really took off. So that's the first thing to understand. YouTube is not something where you throw up a couple of videos and then you have gear companies, coming and knocking your door down, and you all this Google money coming in. It's really not that lucrative. But that aside, if you still have the desire to do it, you have an opinion, you want to share your voice, your perspective, you want to teach people, you want to entertain people, you want to do all that stuff, then I would encourage you to start a YouTube channel. And I would encourage you to take your time and be consistent. I think that's the biggest element to growing any kind of following, whether it's a social media following or, people following your music and coming to your shows. Consistency is key. So finding an upload schedule that works for you. If it's 1 video a week, if it's 2 videos a week, if it's 2 videos a month, whatever that is, finding that upload schedule and sticking to it and continuing to just throw stuff against the wall and seeing what sticks.
Technique.
What's that?
Spaghetti technique.
Yeah, the spaghetti technique. Yeah, the patented spaghetti technique. So, and I'm still doing that. I'm still trying stuff out and seeing what sticks. I have a few new ideas for videos because of the pandemic, and I'm not gigging right now. I'm trying to come up with new ideas for content, and I have a few ideas that I'm really excited about that I want to make that I have no idea how they're going to do, but I'm going to make it and try it out anyways. Yeah, man, I think it's really about consistency, and it's about honesty. Like just share your perspective, share your knowledge, be transactional. People want something from you when they're watching a video. They want to learn something. They want your opinion on something. But above all else, I think it's important to find your voice, be honest, be transparent, and just share your perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. And so much harder said than done.
Yeah. it's a tough, like I said, man, it's, people have a weird perspective on YouTube. People think that we're all millionaires and we put up these videos and just rake in the cash. And it's like, dude, it's not that way. It's a lot of work and a lot of investment and time on the front end before you start to see any kind of response from subscriber growth, from views, and from monetization.
Yeah. It's so it sounds like, to summarize your perspective, it is something to do in parallel with other activities, not something to be relied upon as something that, if you're a musician right now, that you're going to start investing in creating these videos, and that you're going to see an income stream that is any semblance of making a living close to what you had before.
Yeah. Now I will say, from a business perspective, because times are tough right now for players, the first thing that I would do going back, if I was starting over, in conjunction with starting my YouTube channel, I would also start some kind of tuition material. So a video course, a PDF booklet, whatever it is. Most professional musicians have a skill set and a knowledge base that's highly valued by a lot of people. Think of how many guitar teachers or people who are doing Skype lessons and all this kind of stuff there are out there right now. So that really is, if you are trying to monetize this and make this an effective way to earn a living, having some kind of tuition-based sort of product, for lack of a better term, that you can push people towards, when they come to your channel, they like what you do, they like your style, they want to learn how to play like you, whatever it is. If you can funnel those people to something, hey, I have a video course, I have a playing course, or, oh, hey, here's a course I put together on the Nashville number system, or, oh, here's the course I put together on the caged system. That is a much more effective way of monetizing your time, because it takes a lot of time to make these videos and to put these courses together. I mean, it's more than a full-time job. And so that's part of the conversation I've had with some friends of mine who are really, really talented players who teach Skype lessons. The thing with Skype lessons is you can't scale that.
Right.
You only have so many hours in the week that you can fill up teaching essentially what is mostly the same material to a variety of different students. In my opinion, a much better use of your time and your energy is to teach those lessons, that content, that curriculum, to a camera, and either edit it and produce it yourself, or invest in someone to edit it for you, and then try to build at least some kind of following on Instagram, Facebook, maybe, or YouTube, that then you can scale that video course at a much bigger rate. I think it's a better investment of your time. And that's what I've been telling a lot of my friends, in Nashville and here in Atlanta, people who are incredible players who are out of work right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I think these are all great pieces of advice. I think certainly understanding the diversity of income sources, I think, is important. I think it's certainly something that, as we see, this sort of unusual time kind of revert back to some semblance of normalcy, I think certainly you're going to see musicians in particular have their hands in a lot of different pots. And you have a huge leg up on a lot of guys, and that you probably have one of the best and most established business cards out there for YouTube based guitar players that actually are on tour, because that perspective is fairly unique in the YouTube atmosphere as far as people that are doing regular YouTube content.
Well, and I think it's the name of the game now for musicians, especially hired gun players. You've got to have multiple irons in the fire. If you're gonna really make a living, you've got to have a couple of different income streams, and that's going to look different for different players. It could be you're touring and you're teaching Skype lessons, and then you're doing some video demo work, getting hooked up with a manufacturer and playing on their video demos or whatever. The point is to try and diversify your income streams. And what I think is really important nowadays for musicians is to do something that you own and that has your name on it. Yeah. Whether that is a YouTube channel or a website, I mean, whatever it is, something that because as hired guns, you're working and you may be touring and playing in these stadiums and arenas, but at the end of the day, you're making a flat rate and you don't own any of that, right? You're it's a work for hire situation. You're a contractor. So when times are good, they're really good. But when the gig dries up, or maybe the artist you're playing for decides they want to go in a different direction with their band, or maybe the sessions dry up or whatever, you don't really have anything solid to fall back on. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. I just think that a better model nowadays is to do something that you own and that has, you have sweat equity in and financial equity in, that that can sustain you when things start to dry up,